Alright everybody, welcome to the Cm42TV Movie Channel, the Movie Journal. Right here, we are finally here with my overview of my complete collection of all the movies that I have on DVD and Blu-ray. I thought this would be a good way to finally launch the channel. It's been in the works for a long time. I'd had the idea ages ago. I filmed that introduction at the start of June, I think, and didn't officially post it until mid-August. So thank you for bearing with me. It was all supposed to be, you know, in association with like the 10-year anniversary of me being on YouTube. Well, in fact, I've been on YouTube a little bit longer than that, but in terms of like the Cm42 TV channel was created in 2011, so that was 10 years ago this summer. So it is very exciting. I thought I'd do a couple of things on the main channel that I'm still to get to, but I will. And this movie journal, movie channel is a good way to kind of launch something different, have a sister channel as well here for me on YouTube. And it's just the home of all my movie content going forward. If you haven't watched my introduction video, I would love you to do so. But I also thought it would be a good idea to do an overview of my collection as we are here at the grassroots and we're just starting. This is what the collection in my movie watching library looks like right now. As of August 2021, and then we'll keep track of everything and we'll document everything as we go here on the Cm42 TV Movie Journal. That is the purpose of the channel, so hopefully you will stick with us as we go. Now, for those of you who don't know me, some of you may already know this, but if not, I'll tell you anyway. I have to just assume everybody's new, that's the rule. My collection is nothing, you know, too over the top. It's not this big extravagant library of films. Part of me would like that. But also I quite like the fact that I just have this strict collection of all of my favourite films of all time. And I do this because it's not always the case. Sometimes there's films in there that are just like cool additions. You know, you just want to own them in terms of like the case and the artwork and that sort of thing. There's a couple of ones in there that I wouldn't, you know, rate the film itself 10 out of 10 or 5 stars or anything, but I like the addition, so I want it in the collection. That's one thing. Also, there's some films in my collection that I've not seen before that I want to watch. I've bought them to watch. And if I don't like them, I can take them to a charity shop, I can sell them on eBay, I can make a trade with someone, I don't mind. But the collection is supposed to be my kind of love letter to all of my favourite films and just have this overwhelming love for every single film I own, right? And it's a work in progress. It's not going to be something that I can just do right now. I'm still missing a few of my favourite films of all time. I also made a kind of promise to myself that I wouldn't actively look for some. I just kind of want to find them, you know what I mean? There's something fun about that, you know, going into like a charity shop or a used DVD shop or even just HMV or FOP or something like that and finding one at a good price or in a deal or with cool artwork and you go, oh, it's one of my favourites, I can finally get it to the collection. So that's still a work in progress, that's still happening. And I thought for something different in terms of the new channel, I could do this in a couple of different parts. So I'll do like 4 or 5 different videos, working my way through it. Means I don't need to rush, means I can talk about each film, you know, I won't speak much about them, but I can just kind of, why they're in my collection, why I approve of them, why they're one of my favourites, or if I'm looking forward to watching it as well. I'll also be posting my current watch list of all my Blu-rays and DVDs that I have. I've got about a pile of films that I've not watched yet, and I'll do a video all about them as well. So that's coming very, very soon, plus all my cinema trips, plus watch-throughs of films, movie vlogs, and that sort of thing. It's all going to happen right here on the Movie Journal. So let's get started with the A's, because it's the first letter in the alphabet if you didn't know. Just thought I'll keep you all on your toes, you know, now that we have a new channel. And we'll go through my collection here. So this is part 1. I hope you enjoy. The first one is a good example of what I was just talking about. The first one that sits at the top of my collection all the time is 12 Angry Men. This is a perfect example of what I was just discussing. It's not really one of my favourite films of all time. I really like it. But the reason it's in the collection is because I love this artwork, I love this Criterion edition. This is spine number 591, posted or released, I don't know when, 2017. And this film was 1957, the first time I ever watched this film. I was watching it on my phone whilst struggling to sleep. I was lying in bed one night, couldn't sleep, my mind was going 100 miles an hour. Just looked on Netflix, saw 12 Angry Men was like the first thing on the recommendations list. I was like, okay, let's watch it. Maybe I'll fall asleep after 20 minutes. And I watched the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. But then, you know, watching a classic film like that, it's not made to be watched on a phone, you know. So I made sure, and of course I love this artwork. I love the different kind of passport size photos of all the 12 men. And plus the colours really stand out. I really like it. I thought that's the sort of film I wanted to own. And the edition kind of sells itself. So 12 Angry Men is always, since I got it, couple of years ago being like the first film on my shelf because of the number 12. Next one we have is A Star Is Born, the 2018 make with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. This is a case where I saw the film and I was like, wow, loved it, loved the music especially. I thought Bradley Cooper was amazing and Lady Gaga was great too. I love Bradley Cooper, one of my favourite actors. And because there was so much hype at the time, I was like, oh, definitely into the collection. But now, a couple of years on, I've not watched it again. I don't look back at it like, oh my god, that was a 5-star film. Maybe when I give it a rewatch, then I'll be like, yes, this definitely belongs in the collection. But it could easily be traded at one point as well. So yeah, I actually love the artwork as well. I love that picture on the back. I really like the film. Really like the film. And of course, as I said, I love Bradley Cooper, and the music in the film is great. What's the song called? The opening song is called, oh god, what is it called? Opening song to Star Is Born? Star Is Born. Opening, Black Eyes. Black eyes open wide. Yeah, great tune. This is a musical performance here. That's the sort of content you get on the Movie Journal. Right, so those are two films that I don't particularly love, but, you know, want them in the collection for different reasons. This film is a film that I love, and this is my favourite comedy of all time, I think. This is Airplane. I just love the film. I've watched it so many times. I have quoted it a million times. Yeah, it's just my favourite comedy. You know, I'm someone that loves comedies and enjoys them, makes sure, you know, to catch them in cinemas and stuff, but not all of them hit, especially these days, you know. It's very rare you find a classic comedy, so sometimes the comfort film lover in you just kind of wants to go back to the ones you know and the ones you love, and Airplane's definitely that for me. If I'm ever in the mood to watch a daft film, this is the one I go to. It says one of the top 10 funniest movies ever made. It's my favourite comedy. I don't know, I mean, I've not seen every single film ever, so I can't comment if it's one of the greatest films ever made, but it's definitely my favourite funny film. Anyway, so it's a classic. I love it. And speaking of classics, here we have the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection. I was kind of talking about this in a movie haul video recently, that when you get a nice looking box set of all films you've not seen before, I think I talked about it with the Buster Keaton Blu-rays when I did that reaction on the main channel, all about the Buster Keaton art of the kind of silent era gag video from Every Frame a Painting. Was a great video. I reacted to that one. The video was great, not my reaction. If you think it's great, then thank you. I'm not here saying my reaction video was great. Anyway, I did mention that, like, it's good to have these big sets because it's like parts of history, you know. But you might not have seen every film in the collection. You don't know if you like every film. And because it's such a nice addition, I really take my time in terms of watching them all. You know what I mean? So I got this 2 or 3 years ago and I've still not watched all the films. It's only 14 films, only. It's 14 films. Watchable in a year. Do you know what I mean? In a month, you could watch them. In 2 weeks, you could watch them if you watch one a day. But I just haven't. I like the fact there's still ones in here that I've not seen before. I'd previously seen Rear Window. I'd previously seen Psycho. And I think that might have been it. I'd never seen Saboteur, which I loved. Shadow of a Doubt, which I loved. Rope, which I liked. Would probably like better on a rewatch. I'd never seen The Trouble with Harry, which I really enjoyed. Still not seen Marnie, still not seen Frenzy, and still not seen A Family Plot. I had seen Rear Window and loved that one. The Man Who Knew Too Much was really good too, had not seen that one. Vertigo I really enjoyed, but I was a little bit, not disappointed, but I was told it was his best film, you know, and I preferred Rear Window. Still never seen The Birds, and not seen Torn Curtain, not seen Topaz, and of course I've seen Psycho. So those are all the films in the Masterpiece Collection. It's one of my favourite things in my entire collection. It is a masterpiece in its own right, and I just love, I don't know why, I don't know if other sets do it like this in the kind of book form. I know you get like digibooks and stuff, but it's just brilliant with all the information on the films and stuff. The original posters, I just think it's brilliant. So one of my favourite things, it would be top 3 favourite pieces in my whole movie collection, you know. So that's good. Alright, here we go, we gotta move on here. I know I said I didn't want to take my time, but I did want to take my time, but I don't want to keep the video too long. Here we have the Alien Anthology. Such a classic film series. I have only ever seen the first 2. I've never seen Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection. I saw Alien Resurgence, and I didn't like it at all, really. It actually bothered me, but I love the first two. I love Alien 1, I love Aliens, but definitely due a rewatch, 100%. Alright, here we have American Beauty. I love this film, but obviously with like recent events with like Kevin Spacey and that sort of thing, I say recent, within the last 5 years, it makes the film a little bit uncomfortable. I have not watched it since the allegations to Kevin Spacey came out. I think it was on TV one time and I may have tuned in recently, but in terms of going out my way to watch it, I've not done that, and that's a shame because I really, really did love this film, and I loved it so much to the point where I didn't want to, you know, let go of it if I was getting it out of my collection. I do want it in the collection. It's just one of those things where it becomes uncomfortable, you know. It's like it's not only about the real life situation with Kevin Spacey is uncomfortable in its own right, but the subject matter of the film is kind of like that. So, but I love the film. I mean, Annette Bening's great in it, and Chris Cooper, and such a great film. Next up, we have Anchorman, talking about classic comedies. Such a great film. I do love it. Again, it's not been watched in a long time. Definitely due a rewatch. But look at all those hilarious people on the front cover. Even just having Paul Rudd there. Paul Rudd, Steve Carell and Will Ferrell could be easily in there as like 3 of my favourite comedic actors of all time. So I've not watched it in a long time. I'm looking forward to getting back to it and finally watching it again. Alright, here's the first of its kind. This is American Hustle, and this, that should be with American Beauty. Terrible spelling mistake here, you know, I get really strict with that stuff. American Hustle is a Poundland pickup. One of those ones I saw in Poundland was like, you know, I'd really enjoy that. I think I like a lot of the actors in it. I mean, look at that cast. Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, and Jennifer Lawrence, all actors I like. And it was £1 or £2, you know, in Poundland, so it's definitely worth getting. Yet to watch it. If I don't like it, back to Poundland it goes. If I do like it, it has a home here in the Cm42TV Blu-ray collection. This one I clearly have not watched yet because it's still in the cellophane. This is The Apartment. This was from the Arrow Academy sale back last October. I've got 4 Blu-rays from that sale, and I'll talk about all of them in these videos. But yeah, The Apartment was one that I'd never heard of before and was just interested in. It's funny how much like the cover and the artwork does wonders for a film, you know. Just that alone made me want to have a look at it. And next up we have Argo. Now this is similar to American Hustle, where I saw it in Poundland for £2. It's brand new and I was like, okay, let's give it a go. However, I hadn't seen it before and it was the Oscar winner, so I would have ended up picking it up anyway. So it's just a bonus the fact that it was in Poundland, you know. Right, next batch here, we have Avengers Infinity War. I've decided to make a sort of wee side project of trying to collect all the MCU films on Blu-ray or DVD, depending on how cool the edition is. But I don't want to go out my way to just, I'll buy this one on Amazon and this one on HMV or whatever. I want to stumble across them. This brilliant edition of Captain Marvel or this really cool edition of Black Panther. I kind of want that. But Infinity War is underrated. It gets overshadowed a lot by this one, Endgame, and I mean rightfully so. You know, how do you make a perfect superhero film? This is it. No words needed. I do love all the films, and I'm enjoying going on like a wee watch through right now. I've just watched Iron Man 2, so I think the next one is the Hulk, and I'll talk about them all right here on the Movie Journal. Alright, Baby Driver. Another kind of problematic one, not only because Kevin Spacey, but did Ansel Elgort not get cancelled as well? But this is Edgar Wright, great filmmaker, and I love Lily James. This was the film that made me really fall in love with her, and Jamie Foxx is amazing as well. I love Baby Driver, great soundtrack. It was one of my favourite films of 2018? Yeah, I mean, that sounds right. Back to the Future on Blurry Steelbook, one of my favourite movies of all time. In my top 10 of all time. The more I watch it, the more I fall in love with it. And I was lucky enough last summer to see this in the cinema. It was wonderful. Wonderful film. So is Back to the Future Part 2, also Blurry Steelbook. I don't love it as much as the first one, but I do really enjoy it, and the ending always makes me go, oh my god, what's going to happen? So the fact I've seen it a bunch, and just, the fact I'm going to the future, the 2015, and now 2015 feels so long ago. It is either, I don't know if it's either depressing or really interesting, but that's what Back to the Future 2 does. Back to the Future 3, not gonna lie, don't love it. Enjoyed, of course, because I love the style and I love Doc Brown and Marty and stuff, but yeah, didn't like it as much as the first two. I think that's understandable. Here we have Bad Times at the El Royale. I thought this was a very, very underrated film in 2018 when it came out. 2018? 2019? 2019 maybe. I thought it's so underrated, such a good film. It's long, and so long to the point where I've not actually gone back and watched it since the cinema. But much like A Star Is Born, this one is different, whereas like I know I love this film. Whereas like A Star Is Born was like, maybe it needs a rewatch. But this one I don't need to rewatch it. I know how much I loved it because I talked about it for like 6 weeks after it. And I've watched clips from it before. And there's something about films where like an incident happens from like different locations and you see it from different points of view and different angles at different times. Like Knives Out, for example, which is also in the collection. Those films I just love. There's an episode of The Simpsons like that where you see each of the Simpson family members' day from a different point of view. Things like that I just think is genius. Here we have Batman. We're going to be talking about these films very, very soon, right here on the Cm42TV Movie Journal. But I love the 1989 Tim Burton Batman film. And what is the first one without Batman Returns? Another classic. And when I watched it this time, I was like, my God, this is such a Christmas film. Such a Christmas film. Or it's not necessarily a Christmas film, but there's parts of it that are very Christmassy, you know. So maybe I should watch it again in like November on the build up to Christmas, you know. Here's Batman Forever, which is broke. That's new. I literally watched Batman Forever not that long ago and now it's broke. I have no idea why. No idea why. Gutted, that's not going to focus. There you go. Gutted. Anyway, Batman Forever is so underrated, man. It's so underrated. It's so much fun. I think Val Kilmer does a great job, and with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, that's just ridiculous. Chris O'Donnell's first appearance, such an underrated character. Batman Forever is great, and I also like Batman and Robin. I think it's really good. It reminds me a lot of my childhood. The song in Batman Forever, God, what is it called? There's a song like the end of Batman Forever is so nostalgic, just reminds me of being like 4 or 5 years old. A lot of Batman and Robin's the same, just with like Mr. Freeze and stuff. I really like it. Here we have, again, another one of my favourite things in my entire collection, the Before trilogy on Criterion box set. This is the US edition. I got this before the UK had a version of this. This was a birthday present for my sister a couple of years ago, and it's just wonderful. I love all 3 films. I mean, just look, every time I pull this box set off the shelf, I'm just like, my God, it's so stunning. You've got Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight, and since we have a little bit extra time, let's just go through them all because they're so pretty. Here is Before Sunrise, and I've just dropped the booklet. Here is Before Sunset, these kind of like oil painting versions. And then my favourite cover of them all is Before Midnight. My favourite film out of the trilogy is the first one, but look at that blue painting with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. Such a great set. I'll put this back in as the booklet as well, with Richard Linklater. Love it. Here we have Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter film from Arrow Video. So much fun. Watched this last Halloween for the first time ever. Really, really enjoyed it. I will go back to that one a lot. And also watched it with the commentary as well, like the next week, which I really do. And that's like the sign of me really enjoying a film, if I'll go out my way to watch it again in a different way. Here's Birdman. I've not seen this in so long, but I loved it. I loved it when I saw it for the first time, and I love Michael Keaton. I love Edward Norton. This was my friend Aaron's favourite film of all time. Aaron from the Good Bit podcast, of course, so maybe next time he's over visiting we'll watch this again. Birdman. Blazing Saddles, another classic comedy. So much fun. A total blind watch at the time. My dad recommended this to me and I had such a good time. It is ridiculous. Stuff you would never, ever, ever get away with in 2021. But sometimes that makes the best comedies. And then we have Bohemian Rhapsody. Just a masterpiece of a film. Look at that cover. I actually want to take that sticker off. In fact, I don't want to take the sticker off because it just pops off. But I mean, that cover is amazing. It's got the full Live Aid performance, not seen in cinemas. I mean, that there itself, like that picture alone sells the film, you know? Ridiculous. So good. Alright, nearly done with this part. Carrying on, talking about classic comedies. Borat, my God, one of my favourite comedies of all time. There's something about it. It's so quotable and nostalgic for me. You know, this is me and my mate loves this film, and sometimes we watch it together and stuff, this and Step Brothers, and it just reminds me of him. And there's something about, I know it's ridiculous, and again, you couldn't get away with it in 2021, but I love it. I love it. So there's something about it, you know, it's one of those films that you just have this soft spot for, you don't really have the words to describe why. I love Borat. Here we have Bottle Rocket. Was buzzing to get this one, clearly not buzzing enough to take it out of the wrapper or to watch it. I've not seen it yet. But £10 is a good deal for this because I mean, I had my eye on this for a long time based on the artwork alone, with the pink and the green, just stands out so much. Love that edition, and I love Wes Anderson's films, so maybe one day I'll finally open it and I'll finally get round to it. Here we have the Bourne Classified Collection. I love this set. This was one of the first sets I got when I was like, alright, here we go, let's like properly start collecting these films. And again, it's like the Hitchcock one, where it comes in the wee digibook with a poster, Bourne Identity, which I love, Bourne Supremacy, which I like, Bourne Ultimatum, which is my favourite one, the Bourne Legacy, which I didn't hate at all, and then the bonus disc, and then there's Jason Bourne 2, which I don't actually think I've watched yet. I think I've seen the newest one, but I like Matt Damon a lot, and I really like the Bourne films. So it's also, it's hard to describe, it's heavy, this one, and it makes it feel like it's more. I might sound crazy, but collectors might know what I mean, I don't know. Boyhood. When I watched this for the first time, I said it was one of my favourite films of all time. Rewatched it, didn't love it as much, and I've not watched it in like 3 years maybe, so it's definitely due a rewatch, but I think I watched this right at the right time, like I was leaving school and stuff and going to college for the first time, and you know what I mean, like becoming an adult. So it's just the way the film is made. It was really interesting for me because they referenced so many different points of life when I was also growing up in that time. Because L.R. Coltrane's character is totally, it was around about the same age as me, so at the time. So they're talking about Star Wars and High School Musical and things that were coming out when I was younger and stuff. So I really, really loved that film. And here's what I was talking about in the Buster Keaton video the other day on the main channel. This is the short film collection from 1917 to 1923. Look at all those films. It's just an amazing set that I'm just not even scratched the surface with yet. So once I do, maybe I'll make a big video talking about all the Buster Keaton short films in that collection. Nearly done here. Let's try and do this in 4 minutes before my memory is ruined. And not my memory, my brain and the camera. The Cable Guy. Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick. I really enjoyed this film for the longest time. It was in the wrapper but still the sticker on it. I hadn't watched it, and it was one of those nights I just wanted to watch a fun film. I wanted to get one of the films in the collection watched. I picked The Cable Guy and I was so happy to do so. It is so late 90s, it's not even real. It's ridiculous when TV was like the hottest thing, you know. If you had cable, you know, I guess it's not so much with me, I guess it's more of an American thing, but I really enjoyed it. And Jim Carrey is one of my favourites ever, so I'm always going to enjoy films he does. Here we have one of the favourite pieces in my entire collection. This is the Captain America First Avenger Blurry Steelbook. Oh my god, it's stunning every time I look at it. I just watched this film again a few nights ago. And then the very next day was the debut of What If with Captain Carter, so it was like almost like perfect timing. So yeah, and this is what I mean, finding cool editions. Just happened to stumble across this online, you know, and I want to get all the Marvel films. Here we have Casino, a classic. I don't really have the words to describe it because it's been the longest time since I've seen it, and at the time I was like falling asleep and I don't really remember it, so I need to give it a proper full-on watch. Sometimes I don't even count the fact I've seen it, you know, I want to really dive into that. Central Intelligence, The Rock and Kevin Hart's relationship was spawned from this, and I really, really enjoyed this film. I wouldn't normally pick up a random buddy cop comedy like that, but of course it is The Rock, but I really liked that one. I wanted that one in the collection. Here we have Chappie. This one was from Poundland. Never seen it. Always liked the look of it. I like Hugh Jackman. I love Dev Patel. And Sigourney Weaver's in it as well. So yeah, looking forward to checking it out. I heard it's really good. Heard it's really sweet. But I've never seen it. Christmas Vacation, ladies and gents. Oh yeah, I'll watch it every Christmas time. I also love that cover. I feel like that's not a very common cover, so it's nice to have that. National Lampoon, Chevy Chase. Classic. Here we have Clash. This was so close to being donated to charity on the last removal of some of the Blu-rays, but it looks, there's something about it. It looks interesting. You know, I got it in Poundland for £2. Never seen it. so I guess I will soon. TheCondemned, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin. I have a soft spot for this one because when I was younger I wanted to watch it because it was a film with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it was an 18. I wasn't allowed to watch it. So then when I got 18 I was like, I'm going to order TheCondemned. I think it's really underrated in terms of an action film. I really like it. It's like a kind of like a rated R version of The Hunger Games, you know. And last in this part, the last C in this journey, Crazy Stupid Love. A kind of hidden gem, you know, an underrated gem and a guilty pleasure in some ways as well. I love this film, and I watched it on the plane for the first time on my way to Florida, I believe, on the way to Orlando in 2018. It was randomly one of the options, and my sister was like, I want you to watch this, and she was like watching my reaction. It was before I started doing reaction videos as well, and apparently I was like flipping out at some of the moments. So I love almost all the actors in here. It's a classic. It's actually a classic, and it's a guilty pleasure, and I can't wait to watch it again. There's the first part of my movie collection video here on the Cm42TV Movie Journal. Thanks for watching. Tune in to part 2, where we start with the D's.